Find a little seed, plant it in the ground, plant it in the ground. Wait for it to grow, wait for it to grow. Don't disturb it, don't expect to see, don't expect to see. Changes overnight, changes overnight. If you wait a while, if you wait a while, you'll find new life. Sunshine will come, raindrops will fall, your little seed will grow again. Soon there will be a day in spring when your seed blossoms and grows.
Oh, we're playing all the oldies but goodies today. Good morning, everybody. There's a clue to today's assembly in the song I chose for us today. But before we start today's assembly, I've got some things to show you. The first thing was a message, a piece of paper that arrived on my desk, like a memo, very important one. And it said, to Mrs. Scardifield, I made this for the assembly from Holly, year 4 Holly. Well, I know, Holly, that you're in Holly. So thank you very much for that message. And when I turned it over, it was a lovely little mini poster inspired by last week's assembly. And Holly's written, I love and care for nature. And she's put some symbols there. Oh, look, there's a spring chicken, like yesterday. And here, this one's got a big cross through it that says, don't use oil. And this one over here says, don't chop down trees. Very important messages there. And there's some beautiful butterflies down at the bottom on some flowers. So Holly, that really made my day. That was a lovely little thing, very sweet thing to do to show your commitment to looking after our world. And then a couple of other bits that are not particularly to do with nature, although one of them is. I had a visit from Kalaya, also in for Holly this week. And Kalaya is starting to make a collection in her lovely file of her artwork that she's doing at home. And I've got 2 pictures to show you. The first one is a lovely picture of nature. Have a look at this. This is beautiful. It must have taken a lot of felt tip or Sharpie or whatever you used. And we've got beautiful hills, it looks like round here in Halifax, and lovely trees, and then a lovely purple sky. I think it might be dusk. I think that's the moon out just there. And you really took your time with that, Carlisle, at home, and I think you did a brilliant job. And the second one of Carlisle's I just love because it's so colourful, and colour makes me feel happy. This is Carlisle's second one, and I'm not sure, Carlisle, which way it goes up, so we'll have a look at it both ways. And it's a wonderful picture made up of lots of very, very bright, just in case it's that way up, patterns. I think you started with lip shapes in the middle, and then it just became its own thing. And again, what a lot of time and care, Carlisle, you put into that. I think it's really impressive. I think it would look lovely on my wall, actually. Maybe I'll take a photocopy before I give you it back. It's fantastic. What a happy picture. And Carlisle, thank you for sharing that with me. I think when you've taken such care to do things at home, it's lovely to bring them to share and show me. Okay. There was a clue in the song to today's life cycle. In my hand, in my fist here, I have a brand new life. And it's so small, I could hold it between my thumb and my finger. And it amazes me that a whole new life can fit into such a small and perfect package. Can you guess what I've got in my hand? I bet you can. I'll show you. A seed. Can you see how small that is? A seed, and inside this seed is everything that is needed to grow a new plant. I think that's amazing that the potential for new life can be contained in such a perfect thing, a seed. So yesterday we looked at the life cycle of egg to chicken, and today, you've probably guessed, we're going to look at the life cycle of a plant, a flowering plant. And this, children, in its black outer casing, sometimes they're stripy, is a sunflower seed. And today's assembly was inspired by Miss Mead's class, who I came across last week, and they were planting sunflower seeds. I think everybody had one. They all had their own pot, and they'd found a little seed. They planted it in the ground, and now you've got to water it and wait for it to grow, just like in the song. So, of course, I have a book to read, and it's from the same series. These are just my favourite books at the moment, From Seed to Wonderful Sunflower. And I was so inspired by what year 2 were doing that I have gotten myself some sunflower seeds to grow. What is a sunflower? Well, yesterday we were in the animal kingdom and today we're in the plant kingdom. A sunflower is a type of plant. Most plants have, do you remember what all birds had? What were the 3 things that all birds had? Wings, laid eggs and feathers. Well, all plants have roots, stems and leaves. So it's another 3 things: roots, stems and leaves. Plants grow all over the world except in very, very cold or very, very dry places. Plants need air, sunlight and water to grow. Air, sunlight and water. It's all 3s, isn't it? Air, light and water. I think I used to remember it as light, air and water because it made the word law, L-A-W, when you put those together. Stems grow upwards towards the light. They have leaves and flowers, and roots hold the plant in the soil and they suck up water. So that's that's not a sunflower, it's a different kind of a flower, but you can see all the parts, including what's underground, that root system and the stem and the leaves and the flowers. And there, of course, is our sunflower. And isn't it amazing, children, that this one seed can create that marvellous plant with its wonderful flowers that make us all feel so happy. And we always grow some sunflowers at school, usually against the shed or the garage. The story of a sunflower. Sunflowers are tall plants. They can grow bigger than a person, and the ones at school usually do. They grow from tiny seeds. Each seed is no bigger than your fingernail, and you can see that that's true. The sunflower has 3 stages in its life cycle: a seed, a shoot, and then a flower. This is the story of how a seed turns into a sunflower. A seed, a shoot, and then a flower. Let's see, maybe I can plant my seed. A sunflower seed has a hard shell. It may be black or black with cream stripes. Well, my one is just black. And if you open a sunflower seed, you can see the store of food inside. So I did just that. This is just an outer layer, this hard shell. And inside is a pale, I don't know whether you can see that. Can you see that? Tinier even still, a pale creamy white seed. And that's got all the food in it that the sunflower needs. It's also full of food that my birds like to eat as well. They love sunflower seeds. Most seeds are small, but some plants grow big seeds. An avocado seed is big and it's as hard as a nut. It grows inside a soft green fruit. An avocado seed is called a pit or a stone. So there's the sunflower seeds. You can see some black ones and some stripy ones and the ones like I just showed you. And there, perhaps your parents like avocados, perhaps you do. That's also a seed, just a larger one. And again, I think probably if you grew an avocado stone, I don't know whether we've got the right conditions in this country, you could probably grow avocados. A sunflower seed is planted in wet soil. It begins to grow, and the moment that it begins to grow is called germination. That's an important scientific word. The seed's hard shell opens and a tiny root grows from the seed down into the soil. The seeds are planted, a root pushes through the soil, the shoot grows bigger, the outer shell falls off, and 2 small leaves open. And a few days later, a shoot begins to grow, and the young plant is called a seedling. Usually when it's just got 2 leaves like that, that's a seedling. And from there, it's going to grow bigger and bigger and stronger. And now the seedling has leaves, it can begin to make its own food. The leaves use sunlight to make food from air and water. The green leaves turn to face the sun and they collect as much sunlight as possible. Now I'm going to show you something. Now, a while ago, I planted some sunflower seeds and they've just got past the stage of being seedlings. Here they are. It's in quite a wet pot. There we go. And I'm growing my sunflower seedlings. It's got 4 leaves now on my windowsill in my kitchen. And can you see how it's kind of curved over? it has kind of curved so that it faces the sun, because it uses the sun through its leaves to make its own food. That's called photosynthesis. If you're in year 6 or beyond, you'll need to know that, especially when you get up to secondary school. So I'm hoping once the frosts have passed and it's got a little bit warmer, I'll be able to plant my seedlings out into the ground and end up with wonderful, beautiful, taller than me sunflowers. That would be good, wouldn't it? The seedling's roots suck up water from the soil and the seedling grows taller. Its strong stem holds it up and lots of new leaves appear. So mine's just like this little fella over here at the moment. We keep watering him every day, but he should grow and grow and grow. Probably not as big as the beanstalk in Jack and the Beanstalk, but still very tall. I'm hoping that he might grow taller than me. And then the flower opens. It's summer and green buds begin to grow, and each bud has a flower inside. When a bud opens, you can see the male and female parts of the flower. These are needed to make more seeds. The male parts are called stamens and the female parts are called carpels. Yellow petals surround the flat centre of the flower head. So there we can see the buds, number 1, starting to open, the petals unfurling. Isn't nature a wonderful thing? And then the sunflower in its glory there. And you can see the stamens, which are the stamens, and you can see the female parts, which are the carpels in the middle. Okay. And then an amazing thing happens, because it's a circle of life and new life begins again. Bees, butterflies and other insects visit the flowers. They see the bright petals and smell their sweet nectar. And nectar is full of sugar. It is food for butterflies. The stamens, so that's the male parts, are covered in a yellow dust called pollen. As insects sip the nectar, they are coated in pollen. Insects carry pollen from one plant to the carpels of another plant. So have a look at this. A bee's body and legs look furry. Pollen sticks to the stiff hairs. So there's the bee visiting a sunflower. What a brilliant picture. And he's getting his legs, look at his furry legs, all covered in pollen. And then he'll travel to another sunflower, and that pollen will get onto the carpels, the female parts of the next sunflower. And if we're lucky, fingers crossed, it will create new seeds. Tiny grains of pollen grow down into the carpels. They join with the eggs inside the flower head, and this is called fertilization. So that's the same with animals and plants, isn't it? When a new life begins to grow. And now they can grow into seeds. The rest of the flower is no longer needed, so the petals fall off. There's the sunflower. It's done its job. It started to make new seeds. And I think Miss Mead or Miss Mead's husband did this and actually managed to take all of the seeds off an old sunflower head, and those were the ones that you were planting. So from one plant comes many, many more plants. Spreading the seeds. The seeds are ripe and full of food. Lots of small animals like to eat them. Birds use their strong beaks to pick the tasty seeds off the flowers. Squirrels and mice find seeds that fall on the ground. They eat them or bury them. The sunflower has done its job. Soon it will die and animals and bugs will eat the dead plant. But the seeds have been spread by animals and insects who've eaten them or taken them and buried them. And when spring comes, the seeds that are in good soil begin to germinate. They will grow into new plants and the whole life cycle will begin again. Here's a squirrel a red squirrel who's managed to find some sunflower seeds. And it says here that the squirrel will bury them in the ground and might come back to them later to eat. So there we go. Another life cycle from seed to sunflower. And I will forever be amazed that the potential for new life can be found in just one tiny seed. Isn't the world wonderful? I'll leave you with that thought. Bye bye for now.